Hello and welcome to El Governor, the podcast. As always, I am Abdullah, and my guest today is Ryan Andes. How you doing, Ryan?
Hey, Abdullah, I'm doing well, man. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, finally we finally the planets aligned and we can
It
finally do
did.
this.
Yeah, the universe made it so. It made it so we could be here together today, and it's a lovely thing.
So, first question is the obvious one, but how did you get started?
Wow, yeah. So I don't really that's always a tough one for me because I'm not sure whether I should start at like the beginning or if I should just start like with my beginning. So I'm gonna do the like medium version, which includes the beginning, but focuses on the other my beginning as well, because I think both are worth mentioning. And so, at the very beginning, I was not I wasn't here yet. I was not born. My grandfather, his name is Keith Andes, was a Broadway sort of star who then moved to Hollywood and kind of made a name for himself doing movies in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And he had a very rich, resonant voice. He was known for his singing baritone. He had a beautiful voice, in fact, and he trained it a lot. Uh, and and so eventually, Grandpa became a voiceover guy, and he was the original voice of Birdman on the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon. He was the commercial voice of Honda for years. He was like their spokesman. And then he just did a ton of other stuff, and he was still doing TV and other movies at the time. So in a way, that is kind of how I began. Because thanks to Grandpa's vocal DNA, literally, he bequeathed unto me this glorious instrument that is now gracing your ears. Um, and I knew early on when I was like growing up, I got into singing and knew that I had something sort of special, but it wasn't really obvious until I got into college. And that's actually when I started really focusing on my voice. And Grandpa was there to kind of encourage me. When I was in college, I did study theater, kind of to follow in his footsteps a bit, but I found opera. And so opera became kind of part of my story in a big way. And I ended up getting a degree in classical music as a trained bass baritone. Mostly just a bass, actually. Bass baritone's more like a musical theater thing, but I was a operatic bass, and thought that's what I was gonna do. I like left college and went to Rome to sing in an opera. And when I came back to the States about a year later, I moved directly to New York. And upon moving to New York, the dream of opera very quickly died. But that's actually where like voiceover kind of took place. I had sort of messed with it a little bit in college, doing like radio stuff, but it was the attraction to using my voice uh, as an actor that really kind of sparked my fire, as it were. And I took some classes with some really shady people in those early days. We're talking like I think 2005 is when I moved to New York City. And one of the guys, his name was Chuck McKibben. He lived out in Long Island, and I like found him on like the what was it the breakdown listings. He had like a little ad for like want to do voiceover, and he was like an animation guy apparently. So I remember taking the train all the way out to Long Island. So I took the train out to Long Island and did these classes with Chuck, and it was just awful, which then eventually led me to realizing that I was like kind of being had, and found another kind of hack teacher, a guy named Stuart Dillon, who, if anybody's been around long enough, will recognize that name, because Stuart Dillon was the guy who had uh, a like a voiceover CD, or it was a DVD class that he offered, and it was always playing at the Drama Bookshop in New York City. You like walk in and had like a little stand, and there was Stuart Dillon. Do you want to learn about voiceover? Well, you should come and take my class. He had this old school announcer voice. Um, and that was a failure for me. I did my demo with Stuart back in like 2007, I think, and uh, I took the demo to Catherine Ryan, who is an agent at Buckwald, and she was like, "This is literally what she was like." She goes, "This is garbage. I'll never use this. You need to get a better demo." so so womp womp, I crashed and burned my first few tries. But all of those failures led me to a really great woman named Dorianne Elliott, who is also a casting director, but a fantastic voiceover coach who still actually is teaching these days and has a wonderful influence on the voiceover world and has very successful students. I guess you could say myself included. And she is the one who kind of took me under her wing and finally helped me produce a demo that was worthy. And that eventually led me to my first agent, who was Genevieve Brewer at About Face in 2007. So long story turned very long, and there you have it. There's my origin tale in a nutshell.
It's so crazy because like where do I even begin with this? Because like you were first of all like your grandfather was Birdman. That alone is like
Right?
what?
Yeah. No, I know. That blows a lot of people away. And you know what's funny is that nobody would have known about Birdman had Adult Swim or Cartoon Network really like rebooted the whole Birdman thing. And then he kind of like came back into the cartoon culture. But before that, he was just kind of this corny, old cartoon guy, Birdman, and grandpa bellowing into the wild blue yonder. But I go back and I listen to him and I'm like, man, he was great. He was an actor. I mean, he was doing his thing, and he carved out a little cartoon name for himself. It's cool.
It's so weird if you're a fan of like Harvey Birdman, like going back and watching like the original cartoons feels so weird because it's like that's not Gary Chalk. Not Gary
Right.
Chalk, Gary Cole, sorry.
Yeah, no, right. And I don't even think he tried to emulate Grandpa's voice, right? Like I think he just kind of had his own take on it. Maybe there was like a slight influence there, but the original is very different than the reboot, but it still holds up.
I mean, your grandfather was Birdman. You tried to get into opera of all things,
Oh, yeah.
which is like, okay.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. That was a weird one. I mean, I actually really loved it, and I was good at it. I felt like I had something really great to offer opera. In fact, I have a bass clef tattooed on my arm because back then I was like, man, oh man, that's it for me. I'm going to sing opera. And I really wanted that, I think, for a long time. And until I realized how not terrible. I shouldn't say the world is terrible. The world of opera, I mean, but it kind of was. I like discovered how like, I don't know, it was a very competitive, somewhat petty and uncomfortable world. It just didn't fit with me. And once I realized that, I decided, I really wanted to be an actor. Like that was the bottom line. And I thought like, oh, I'll bring my acting talent to opera and I'll revolutionize it. I'll make it something cool and new. And, and like that wasn't going to happen. And I still love to sing, and luckily I was able to book a Broadway show, and I was able to continue singing in musical theater. So like I got to use that skill, but not like what I trained to do. But it's still relevant. Again, like that stuff never goes away, right? Once you learn how to do a thing like sing, that translates to so many other things vocally, even being a voice actor,
And then, going from that to, your demo story, like people don't believe me whenever I say like there are tons of people who almost killed their careers by submitting a bad demo.
Dude.
Like they
Oh
don't
my
believe me.
God.
They're like, "Oh, that never happens." No, it does. A lot.
Abdullah, I kept, so I'm like, I'm having like a moment here because I kept that original demo because just to remind myself all these years later, like how truly horrible it was. And I'm I'm just such, looking back through the lens of history and to like all of those, it's almost, almost 20 years now since I started and since I cut that absolute piece of garbage and realize like just how far I've come and how much I've grown and and how much I thought I knew then compared to what I actually know now. Um and you're right. If I, if I had been like, you know what? This is the thing. Like I am actually grateful that Catherine Ryan like chopped me down so hard because if I had been like, I'm it, this is it, I'm going for it, and tried to get like a legitimate start with that demo, you're absolutely right. Like my career would have come crashing down.
Yeah, because like it's so important to understand that like a demo isn't just let me do a bunch of voices in like X amount of minutes. It's like you kind of it's the whole okay, this is what I'm capable of and this is why you
Right.
should hire me.
Right. Right. Yes. So that you are spot on. And that is pretty much what Catherine Ryan told me. And she, and in not maybe not so many words, but basically she was saying that like my range was limited, that I sounded very green, that she could tell that I needed to up my game and my training. And, that was all apparent in like a minute and a half of demo. Um, and so like you're right, like that that 1 minute clip of various spots or whatever the demo is, it has to really nail it because that's all you get for a lot of this. And it's your entry point. That's what people are going to judge you on. And if it's not cooking, man, you are very much blowing your chances.
And now it's even more competitive because nowadays casting directors are just going to listen to like 5 seconds of it and then,
That's right. That's right.
discard it.
Absolutely true. It's so true. And it's changed a little bit, but not much. I think you're right. Like you have to catch them right away. And and it's so hard to, it's so hard to tell, I think, young voiceover people like what that is. But time and time again, as I've gone deeper and deeper into this career and studied with other mentors and teachers of this craft, the thing that always comes back, the main touchstone to all of this is authenticity, 1,000%. And that's actually a lot harder than it sounds because you want to show your most honest, truthful, most distilled self um, within a very short amount of time, and let them know that you're being honest and authentic. Sometimes that's, I mean, I just find that that can be the hardest thing ever.
Oh, especially nowadays when everyone's trying to put on a facade.
Yeah. Right. Right. That's exactly right. I don't book jobs. I do have a I have a big voice and I have a low voice and I've got a rich voice. I can easily, put it on, right? Hey, you guys want to buy my $5 thing? Well, please come on down, right? Like that is within my abilities, but I never use that anymore. In fact, I only use it if it's very specifically asked for. Most of the stuff that I submit for auditions now is basically what you're getting right now. It's just me talking, and putting on is immediately a flag of disingenuity or contrivance. It doesn't sound real, and that's not what sells anymore. People want what's real. Um, and that's hard. Putting that into a microphone, focusing it into a tiny point audibly can be a big challenge.
Oh no, absolutely. Like people need to understand that, you know, if you want to get hired, you have to be like, one, people want to have to work with you, and two,
Yeah,
you have to
big
be
time.
authentic, because if you're not authentic, then it's like, yeah, we can see through your crap.
Absolutely true.
We're not
Yep.
gonna hire you if we can see that you're just like putting on a persona or whatever, or acting a
Yes.
certain way, or because
Yeah.
people talk. Let me tell you, people talk.
That's right, dude. No, that's absolutely right. And I think to put a finer point on that, it's worth saying that authenticity comes in many forms, right? Like we as voice actors, we have very many shades to what we can present. And this is actually, I just took a great class with Kathy Kalmanson, who is a renowned LA casting director for commercials. She's married to Harvey Kalmanson, who, this is wild, by the way. I have to tell this tale, and it's very quick because holy crap, it's worth telling. So I didn't know this when I signed up for this class. And what she offers is a working pros class. It's for industry folk who have been doing voiceover for many years and are professionals, which changes things, as in like the way she teaches is different. So I was interested in this, and while we're in the class, Harvey, her husband, finds out about my grandfather, and he calls me one day, not in class, to tell me, ready for this, that he knew my grandpa. Not only knew him, he directed him in his booth multiple times. They were freaking friends, dude. and uh and he told me some very interesting stories. Like they used to like razz each other, and I guess Harvey would kind of like poke fun because Grandpa was like this incredibly beautiful man. If whoever's listening, if you really want to, like, I don't know, this, do yourself maybe a favor. I don't know. Check out Grandpa. He's worth looking at. Trust me, Keith Andes. Anyway, he would say something to Keith like, "Hey, before you go, you want to give me a kiss on the lips?" And Grandpa would be like, "You could only be so lucky." Harvey. And they would have a laugh and joke about women, just how they did back in the 50s, whatever, or whenever it was. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Kathy, right. So point of this is that her class, what she was teaching, was basically this. It was an acting class, really, for commercial voiceover. And all it was, I mean, it was the simplest thing. It was, how do you tell a story through your own lens, right? Like it's all you're doing is using your personal experience to shade or color the thing you're saying. And that's like her technique. That's like, I mean, there's more to it, but like that's the bottom line. And that kind of, I think, reinforces this idea of authenticity, but with all this added stuff on top of it.
When they say the voiceover world is small, they freaking mean it, because
Dude, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. He called me and I was like, why is, I'm like his assistant got, yeah, you've got a call from Harvey Kalmanson. I'm like, why is Harvey Kalmanson calling me? And he gets on, "Hey, Ryan, are you okay me telling you stories about your grandpa?" Yeah, I mean, he really blew my mind, man. It was wild. You're right, small world. And it's funny. I think what's so interesting too is that you don't know. I didn't know Grandpa in that way, and hearing about him through the lens of Harvey Kalmanson kind of informed me about how big he was. Like he was kind of a big deal back in the day. Harvey was saying like, "Yeah, your grandpa had, the pick of every woman in the city." I'm like, what? What? Grandpa was a player, dude. He was like hanging out with starlets. I mean, he did have, he was friends with Marilyn Monroe and whatnot. It was just nuts. So I don't know. It definitely was a bit of an eye opener.
Okay, before we move on from Keith Andes, I just want to mention that if you're just listening to this podcast, do yourself a favor and just Google Keith Andes. The first image that will pop up is a shirtless picture of him. So there you
Oh,
go.
dude. Yeah. I mean, I'd say like half of Grandpa's movies, he was shirtless. I mean, the guy was like this incredible male specimen. I mean, you look at Keith and you're like, "Oh, I'll never be like that. Like, I'll never, I'll never live up to that man." So that's the shadow I'm in right now. I'm this, I'm 6'4", but I'm like, I feel like this shriveled little dwarf compared to the god that Grandpa once was. You know what I mean?
Okay, now that we're done with all the voiceover talk, how did you get into Transformers?
Oh man, God, that was. I just want to start by saying that experience doing Transformers is still remains one of my favorite jobs that I've ever done as a voice actor. And a lot of that has to do with Randolph Hurd, who was the main writer and showrunner, creator, I guess you could call him. And oh my god, I'm drawing blanks on everyone else's names. Gavin, oh man, he's gonna kill me. Uh, insert name here, kind of thing. Gavin and Kat. The point is, they were just like the loveliest people, and they were fans of the show, and I was a fan. I grew up watching Transformers and loving Grimlock, and my favorite was Soundwave because I loved all the little cassette tape, Transformers. I had like all of the little buddies, and I would play with them with my best friend Carl. Like we just loved the world, and so getting an opportunity to step into not only Grimlock, but then also to voice Shockwave. It was just like this mega dream come true. And that was all because of Jen Suckup, who runs she's a casting director who runs her own studio as a coach called Shut Up and Talk. And if anybody's interested, they run it out of New York City, and she's just fantastic. And she was the reason that I got the job. She brought me in.
And did you audition for any other characters, or were those two the only ones?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and the audition process was involved. We went through. I think I remember coming into the studio and auditioning for Randolph multiple times, even before he came to the East Coast because he was in LA. And I think I do remember auditioning for. I think I read for Megatron. They had already figured out who they wanted for Optimus Prime, but I was bummed because I actually felt like I probably had a pretty good Prime. Um, and I honestly, at this point, I don't remember who else, but it was pretty obvious early on that they wanted me for Grimlock. And then Randolph, I think it was his idea to have me read for Shockwave, because he liked the like richness and the fullness of my like lower voice, and he just asked if I would be, if I could shift into like an evil character, um, and I could, and I did, and it worked out really well, man. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, your Shockwave is just so good. I mean,
Thanks.
I think the biggest regret of that show is that he did not last as long as he should have, because man,
Totally.
was he great.
Oh, I know. I was so bummed when they basically just killed him off. you know? And I think he had to die because he was like the arch villain next. I mean, Megatron gets redeemed and all that. Um, and Shockwave is just like the most obvious like evil guy, and he really is, like, I think of the show, the most pure evil, like the most detached, logical evil, which to my mind is also the most scary evil. Um, and I think that actually that portrayal of him made the show a bit more real, and I was really grateful that they didn't want to go super cartoony and that they were willing to like let me go like to that dark place with Shockwave, which I think it needed.
Oh yeah, because like you needed an intimidating villain because it's like, yeah, these guys are, again, the Decepticons in this version, they're not good people. They're
Yeah.
probably like very vile in this
Yeah, no. Yeah,
incarnation.
they're gross. Absolutely. Yeah. They're like they're hateful robot slime. And so and like and I do love that Randolph and the writers they like really kind of made them gross in a relatable way. like the bad guys tended to be like more selfish and out for number one. Like Slipstream, no, Starscream, totally usurps and becomes another really hateful bad guy. Um, and it's great, like you start and in a way it almost makes you start rooting for the bad guys, which in my mind is the marker of a great bad guy. you know
Also, like how fun was it to just just to not only go full on evil as Shockwave, but to play a version of Grimlock who was also not only like
Totally.
smart, but also I don't want to say dumb, but more beastly when he
Yeah.
becomes when he
Right,
goes full
right.
T
Like
Rex.
totally right. Like sort of, mindless dino creature, which is what I remembered from, the OG Transformers, and that's when I came in to do the auditions. That's what I was channeling. I remember very much like like hearing old Grimlock in my mind and being like, this is, this is the guy. It was Randolph who really wanted to create that sort of dichotomy between Bot Grim and Dino Grim, and turn him into kind of like like Beast from X-Men, who was this smooth, gregarious, boisterous, almost like he had like a Three Musketeer kind of vibe. Yes, my friends. Please make sure you get yourself a nice full cup of energon. That kind of thing, which I just feel like is like another shade of me. It's in there, so it's very much in there.
And I also love his friendship with RC. I'm just like,
Totally.
I kind of wish they got more episodes together because that dynamic was just so much fun.
Oh man, I'll be honest, like those are some of my favorite episodes, hands down. And Jamie Lamchick is so great as RC, and she and I actually like are buddies outside of the show. And man, yes, I like totally agree. Like the dynamic between the two of them getting into trouble and then having to figure out how to get out of it, kind of covering each other's backs and going on some crazy adventures. It just gets me in all the right ways. I like that's the kind of cartoon storytelling that I freaking live for, man. It's so good.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I just love their dynamic, and like as much as I loved the Dinobot arc that you guys did towards the end,
Yeah.
one of my
Season 4, yeah.
one of my biggest complaints was that RC was written off way too early. I'm like, but
I
why didn't you
know.
like you could have had her like hang out with the rest of the Dinobots and that would have been great, but no.
No. I know. I feel you there, dude. She got frozen like right at the beginning of the episode. And I think to like the writers' credit, I think they were really trying to establish the Dinobot thing, and it might have been tough with RC there. I don't know, but I feel you. I do, and I wish she and I had more moments together in that final season. And I still am bummed that it's done. I feel like there was so much more life and more juice to be squeezed out of that sweet orange. But c'est la vie, man. That's how things go.
I also love the fact that the way they wrote Shockwave off was really great because like like and this
Yeah.
actually happens by the way. So this is not me like making it up for those who have not seen the show, but basically like the Decepticons want the Allspark and they're
Right.
like, "Oh, we can't have it." So what is Megatron's plan? He's like, "Okay, I'm going to corrupt it." How do you corrupt it? By getting the most evil Decepticon ever to off himself
Yeah.
and
Yep.
have his spark join the all spark to
That's
corrupt
right.
it. That's like
Yeah.
that is like the most metal freaking thing I have ever
Yeah.
seen.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt about it, dude. And look, Shockwave knew his job, man. He was like, all right, if I gotta, if Megatron says it so, then so it is. And I mean, look, I can't like criticize it at all. Like as a from the storytelling perspective, it's fantastic stuff. It's fantastic stuff, and I'm glad that that's that is how he ends. I feel like that is a worthy ending for somebody like Shockwave. So it's good stuff, man.
And
Um, I
I do love the fact that they do bring him back a little bit in later as a ghost, as an homage to like the old G1 episode where Starscream's ghost comes back. I thought that
oh
was
right,
nice.
yeah, yeah, right. I do remember that. Yeah, and too. One of the things. This is kind of a little bit of a segue, but one of the things I loved about the show too is how much they rooted it in cyberverse lore, as in you there were moments that we got to see these robots existing together on the planet um before conflict happened. Like I there was like this one specific moment where Bumblebee and Shockwave are sitting next to each other watching I forget the game, like, but whatever, there was like a sporting event, and
A
at one
cube,
point, yeah, yeah, right. And at one point, there's like a frame of the two of them high-fiving, right? And it's like, oh, these guys just existed together. They were just kind of like people, they they didn't have any problems with each other until, until some shit happened, and then they did. But before that, like there was just such a great way of setting us up to believe the world, and in with those kinds of moments. And I just am so grateful to the writers for that, because it shows how much they thought about it, and how deep they were willing to go, and how much they cared as well. And I think that's really, really cool.
no, someone made a great point in that like what makes this Megatron great is that like his version of a United Cybertron could have worked had he had just not been a thug about it.
Totally. Yeah, he just doinked it, man. And that's like Megatron's MO. Like, we all know that that's how it's going to happen, right? We do, but there's no good story is without hope, right?
Yeah. And you also voiced I forgot the Titan's name, but he was so
Oh,
great.
yeah, Iaconus, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I am Iaconus, I am more. Oh, that gets me
Yeah,
every time.
that was very cool. That was actually a very like almost a chilling episode. Like it brought a new dimension to the universe, in a very violent dimension as well. I mean, these two monstrosities going at it in such a gnarly way. Um, yeah, I was. It was another a moment of enlightenment for me with the universe. And I go back and I still go back and watch these, because every now and then I'll pull a clip or whatnot, and use it for some demo or something. And I'm always surprised at the details that I discover, and how much care was taken with it. It's really cool, man. Yeah,
No, God, his origin story is so great. Is like, he was like the ultimate protector, but then he's like, he had no one else to protect, and war
yeah,
was literally the only thing he knew. So he just turned on everybody, and
yeah,
it's like we had no choice but to like subdue him.
yeah. I mean, right? Like exactly. He was a threat. I mean, he had to be taken down. But man, that battle was just it was kind of sad in a way, right? Like, kind of to your point, it was um thrilling, but also there was like some grievance in there in some way. Yeah, yeah, it's wild.
That like I said, like the Quintesson arc is still the best arc that they did out of that show, and it shocks me that so many people continue to sleep on this series because man,
Yeah,
like I like one of my biggest regrets was like not watching the show until recently, and I'm just like, man, I wish I gave this more love when it was on.
I know, and I almost feel the same way. Like I feel like it was not something that I took for granted per se, but wished I had given more attention to when it was playing, so that it could be discovered or something. It's not like, me tweeting about it more is going to tip the scales or anything, but you're right. I think there are so many things like um that don't necessarily get their due. Um and even like Cyberverse was quickly overshadowed by the next iteration. Oh, I forget the name of it, but the one that
Earthspark.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. The one that Netflix released.
Oh
And
no,
the
no, no,
bummer,
the War for Cybertron trilogy.
the
No,
War for
not
Cybertron.
yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And the bummer there, of course, was that all of us New York voice actors, except for I think one of us, Jessica did Giovanni, and I think maybe one other person, was part of that cast. Um, we were all kind of like left behind, and I feel like that was kind of a bummer because we really felt like we had established ourselves in some way, and that there we should like I think I remember thinking at the time like I wish I had a chance to just be heard, just to throw my hat in the ring, and it didn't happen. They ended up I think more or less casting entirely out of LA. But look, that's the way the cookie crumbles, and you can't win every job. And you know, I'm grateful that I can now add my name to the list of iconic voice actors who have played these roles, and that for me is the best win of them all.
Yeah, I think the problem, I mean, I don't want to say problem, but I think that like having two Transformers shows like air simultaneously together, I think that kind of confused a lot of people because
Yeah, it did.
because some people didn't even know Cyberverse was still going by the time
That's right.
War for Cybertron kicked off because like they had assumed like new shows dropping. I'm guessing Cyberverse is done, but it was still going,
Yeah,
so yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it kind of diluted it a bit, I think, and it had a grittier, more Michael Bay vibe. I think that's what people are used to. It's and look, the old heads love the G1, and I think that's why Cyberverse was so appealing because it very much was meant to appeal to the old uh fans of the show. So and again, this is kind of like part of fandom. It's like every universe like that has different shades and has fans from different generations and fans of different styles. Our thing was cool. It was cool for what it was. It wasn't for everybody, and that's okay. I'm okay with it. I lament the like end of a thing, but that only means that it makes space for the beginning of something else.
No, I'll be honest, like, if I, because I, watched the entire Netflix trilogy, and I
Hmm.
liked parts of it, but but like now that I've seen like Cyberverse from beginning to end, I'm like, man, Cyberverse was a lot better, honestly.
I think so too. I think so too, and it was mainly because there was so much care. There was so much passion put into it. And again, that comes from Randolph. Man, Randolph Heard was the guy who I think injected the series with all of that wonder of the original series, right? The things that made us love it in the beginning is what he wanted people to feel when they saw this next series. And I think that really shined. I think that's what made it special and stood out from the rest. And hopefully, as time goes on, people will still find it. I think it's still out there. I think it's still on YouTube. I remember seeing it not too long ago somewhere out there. Um, so I'm hopeful that it will withstand the test of time.
No, Cyberverse is slowly developing like a small fan base. I know like Travis Arts is like slowly, he's become like kind of big in the fandom because like a lot of people are discovering his hot rod and they're like, "Hey, we like this guy." And like, "Oh yeah,
I
sure."
know, I know. It's funny, man. I I really admire Travis. We did a con together, and it's really because of Travis that I was there in New York. I think this past summer, and actually, it's worth mentioning that he's been very active at doing cons and stuff, and really kind of like I think drawing more attention to the series as a result, which I'm so grateful for, and I admire Travis's ability and dedication to this. Um, but we are doing another con this summer in New York. I don't remember the name of it. BotCon, I think, is the name of it. Um, and it's going to be a cool. I'll have to look it up in a minute and figure out the exact details. But it's worth knowing that like Travis is the reason we are. Yeah, BotCon. Here it is. August in New Jersey, August 25th and 27th. And there's going to be a bunch of Cyberverse voice actors there. Laurie Himes, I think, is going to be there. Latanya Phipps, I think Jeremy Levy is going to be part of that. I think Mark Thompson might actually check it out. So there should be a pretty good showing of us Cyberverse folks for anybody who is able to get there. And maybe even you, Abdullah, can make the trip over and check it out. I'd love it if you could, man.
I would love to, but man, summer, man, like you never know. But with summer,
Yeah.
like plans change constantly, so I can't guarantee it. I would, but I don't know.
Well, it's out there. You've got some time to hopefully plan something. And if not, it's all good, brother. You'll be there in spirit for sure.
Yeah, like I would like despite me being a huge Transformers fan, like I told Travis when I had him on, like I have never been to a TF con or any official like Transformers convention, but I would love to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. I haven't either. I've been to like a few like small things, but I've never been to like a big Transformers thing. And I know they just had one in LA. I think Travis was a part of that. And again, like I admire him for putting himself out there so much. I live upstate now and I don't really have the time to do the like real effort in putting in like con work. Maybe that will change after this summer. We'll see. But they seem like a really great time. And I feel like I owe it to myself at some point to like check one out, just like you. I think let's make a deal right now, Abdullah. One day we'll see each other at a TF con.
God, I hope so.
All right. It's been said. It's in stone now, bro. It's been locked and loaded.
uh,
It might take 20 years, but we'll
yeah.
be there one day.
Yeah. Before we like wrap this up,
Yeah.
I also want to like talk about your other stuff that you've done.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
You were in Peter Pan Live with
Oh my
Walken.
god. Oh my god.
Like what was that like? I gotta know, man.
Oh
I gotta
man.
know.
Oh man. I haven't talked about this in so long. God, that was such a surreal experience. So, I just to kind of like recap a bit. I got on my first Broadway show in 2013, doing Big Fish. I played Carl the Giant, and it was a life-changing experience. I'd spent what 8 years living in New York, doing independent theater and auditioning for big stuff and singing on whatever I could, and just basically getting after it. And then I had my break, and that was with Big Fish, with directed by Susan Stroman, who is the reason. She was like the one who basically got me into the show. And by the way, she's now directing another wonderful musical called New York, New York. If anybody's in New York City, go see this show. It is a phenomenal production. But that was the real beginning of me kind of like getting more involved in the musical theater world. And so Rob Ashford is the director of Peter Pan Live, brought me in for an audition, and we immediately hit it off. And the next thing I knew, I'm at callbacks, and then I get an offer to be in this wild ass production. And it's the thing about it, man, is that it is a full blown Broadway show. I mean, we rehearsed it like a Broadway show, except for the fact that there's also a live TV crew following us around, setting up cameras. We're on, a 3D set. It's built to be viewed from all angles. I mean, the entire thing was like an acid trip. I mean, and of course, Christopher freaking Walken is part of this. And he's really a part of it. Like I remember being there at rehearsal the first day, and there he is in his sweats, like ready for rehearsal, just like the rest of us. And he would be in our all of our singing rehearsals with us as well. And he was an absolute character. I mean, exactly exactly what you'd expect, and then also not what you'd expect. He ended up being a very sweet, mostly mostly friendly guy. Like he really loved to tell stories. He loved to make us laugh. He was inappropriate most of the time, but like in funny ways. Um, I've got some good stories. And this is actually one of my favorites. So I'll tell it real quick. So the process is wild. We rehearse, and then we get to it's called Grumman Studios, which is this. It used to be an old airplane hangar out in Long Island. It's now this massive TV and movie studio, and it's a hangar basically is the soundstage, gigantic, right? And this is where they've built the set for Peter Pan Live, including all of Allison Williams, flying stuff, because they had her rigged up to soar around through the air in this place, which was also totally bananas. So we go through the process, and it's a lot. We have to rehearse. We have to figure out where cameras are going, all this jazz, and getting ready for really just one night. Like that's all it is, and it's really truly just one night. We're doing all this work to perform a full blown Broadway show that is filmed once. So it's the night. And I remember just it being like, yeah, at that point we were so used to it. So it didn't feel that nerve wracking, but that something special is happening. The energy is different. And we're all like ready to go. And so we're it was what was the moment? We were sitting on the back of the Lost Boys set, right? It was like a hill, and inside of this hill was the Lost Boys, hideout, and outside of the hill, during the scene, the pirates and Captain Hook, are waiting for them to like spring a trap. And I'm I'm on the set next to Chris. He and I were sitting right next to each other in darkness, and we're waiting for the stage manager to give us the cue. And we're out there for a while. It's probably about 15 minutes, and we can chat. It's not like we have to be in total silence. So I'm sitting there next to Chris, and we look out on the set, and there's all these wildly looking trees. They're all like multiple colors. And, in a very low voice, he leans down to me and he goes, I think I want to take one of those trees home with me. I look up and I'm like, really? Like, well, what would you do with it? Oh no. Oh, he goes, those trees are super gay. I want to take one of them home. I go, okay, well, what would you do with it? And he looks at me, he goes, I'd stick it up my ass. And I started doing this. I start like fucking laughing, like about to fall, like I'm like dying. I'm like laughing tears. And then the stage manager's like, all right, like 30 seconds. And I have to like get it together. And Chris is, getting a kick out of basically having made me almost fall off the set. We have a good chuckle, and then it's like action time and we're back in it. But it was one of those moments I'll never forget.
No, that is totally Walken. Like because I listened to other stories that people who have worked with him say, like he would just like that's what he would do. Like he would just say the most outrageous thing,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't believe it was true. And it's like, did he really just say that? you know?
Oh man. I mean, I've got a few more that probably aren't, let's just say they're not podcast appropriate. But it was a lot of like locker room humor with that guy. And like, you're right. He would just say like the most insane, outrageous crap just to like get a reaction. And it was always hilarious, and you start thinking like, God, this guy, like you hear the stories about this dude and you wonder, is it real? And it's like, dude, he's that guy. Like he's like a caricature of himself, it's amazing. And it was actually really neat. He gave me a joint at one point, and I kept it. I still have it in my drawer. I like put it in a plastic bag, and I promised I wouldn't smoke it until he passed away. So I'm still waiting, Chris. Any day now. No, I'm kidding. Hope you're around forever, bro. Don't ever leave. You're the man. Love you, dude.
No, it's crazy like watching Severance and realizing, oh man, the dude's 80 and he's still like
Yeah.
giving performances like that. Holy
Mm.
crap.
And what a great show, man. Yeah, him and Turturro together, just incredible. Yeah, no, it was neat to see him like that because, wildly enough, you're so used to Chris being kind of this eccentric, kind of wise guy, badass kind of dude. And really, he's actually more like the guy from Severance, like this sort of sweet, kind of goofy, but like genuinely good guy deep down. And I'm glad we got to see him and that shade of him on the show because that is more, I think, who he is.
I mean, plus, like, you can say, hey, I worked with Walken and it was just
Yeah.
like a once in a lifetime experience. And like, not a lot of actors can say that,
Oh,
honestly.
dude. Yeah. No, it's true. And it's not like, I mean, that's the thing too, is that, it wasn't like just being on set with him. Like we were building a musical together. Like it was every day in rehearsals, dancing and singing and choreograph and like the whole shebang, man. It was like hanging out with Walken on a pretty serious level. And like, like I said, it's something I'll always have and I'll never forget. It was a
Like,
truly amazing experience.
like I had imagined like something like that would just make you want to be like, yeah, I want to be like, I know I'm already am an actor, but it's like
Hmm.
I want to learn everything I need to know about this craft because I love it so much.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, but like to see, you know, I think what I came away from that experience with was, seeing that like almost like I got to demystify some things a bit. That being good at your craft actually just really amounts to being good in general. You know what I mean? And I think that actually was the one of the biggest takeaways for me. Um, and that starting with goodness will bring good things, as long as you are treating others well and doing your craft the service, giving it the goodness it deserves. Other good things will follow. And I actually truly believe that. I think that is a standard of the business that I've recognized now and adhere to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like to bring it full circle, this industry, man, it's really a lot smaller than
Yeah,
and
that's true.
people talk. So if treat people like crap, then
Yep,
I guarantee you that the person you treated like crap will remember that.
that's true. That's true, and they'll remember it longer than you think, man. And I think that's part of the whole, the revelation of Me Too. A lot of people were treated like crap, and they finally got a chance to like be heard. And that stuff is, it's funny how the crap stuff you remember so much more. Like sure you remember good people, but when you've really been mistreated, that stuff sticks with you even longer and even goes even deeper. Um, and has negative consequences. And I really think, and this is kind of, I think, maybe also how I'm built, which I'm grateful for, that being kind and being present with people, no matter if they're the PA, the grip, the assistant stage manager, it doesn't matter who they are. They are people doing their job and are there to make your job easier or better. Every single person involved deserves to be seen, to be heard, and to be treated well, no doubt. And I really believe that is the mark of a true professional and a mark of greatness.
Absolutely. Before we wrap this up, can you give us an update on what you're currently working on and where can people find you online?
Oh, sure. So I'm in a this business is so bizarre in a great way. I love what I do. In that no 2 days are ever the same. I'm auditioning all the time, and I'm working. I work. fairly often. Most of my the livelihood stuff comes from commercial voiceover, and I've got a few commercials running now. I've got Kinder Bueno, which I've been doing for years now. Thank goodness. Um, I have Saya Trucking. What else do I have? Oh, I think I've got a couple things for Capital One going, and I just booked a spot for Squarespace. So keep your ears peeled. Will probably maybe come across something in the world. It's out there. It's playing. But then in the other stuff that that's kind of like the keep the lights on type of work. And then there's the feed the soul kind of work, and a lot of it is animation is not it's not very well, it doesn't pay very well. So and a lot of the jobs, some of them never see the light of day, because a lot of it's dubbing, it's a lot of it's imports from places like Russia or South Korea or even China. um but I have a fairly consistent amount of that work, and I'm grateful for that stuff. That's the stuff I love to do. And so those keep coming in. But the one that I'm excited about, I can't really go into too much detail, but we did finish it, I guess about a month or two ago, and it's now getting ready for release. It's the, this is what I can say, and I think it will kind of represent a bit of a shift for me, hopefully, as a voice actor. It is one of the one of a large streaming company is doing audio versions of movies that they own. So that's all I can say. I'm in I play a main character in one of those, but they have not yet been released, and I don't think they're really even talking about it yet. So it's pending. I'm in the midst of actually rebuilding my website and releasing, putting new demos together and stuff. So I'm going to be my marketing will be hopefully in place by then, so I'll be able to like talk about it a little bit easier, and I'll be able to disseminate things when they come out. So you can just kind of keep an eye open, and the way to do that is, you can follow me on Instagram. I have a handle. It's my name. It's except it's not Ryan Andes. It's Andes Ryan. There's another guy out there named Ryan Andes who I'm gonna have a talking to. I'm gonna see if I can't wrangle my name back from that guy. But in the meantime, it's at Andes Ryan on Instagram. I'm also the same handle on Twitter, which I really, I'll be honest, I'm never on. Um, and and then my website is www.ryanandes.com, and that is actually my next big project, and I'm almost done with it. It's got a lot of new material and just updated content, and that's where I'll be posting a lot of my updates and new things as they come out. So check me out.
And for those that want to see your current work, please check out Cyberverse. It's on YouTube. It's free.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
right on.
And
Yeah.
Wulong. So there you go. You're also in that.
Oh, right, Wolong. Yeah. Wolong. I play Gwen Yu, one of the characters in that, and I do have another video game I think coming out soon, but I can't say anything about it right now. So like I said, keep checking in, and once when things do drop, I'll usually blast it out from whatever platform I'm decide to use that day. Usually it's Instagram, but I'm trying to force myself to be better on Twitter. So we'll see. keep keep I'll keep checking in. We'll see how I get with that.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time off to do this. This has been swell. And
Yeah,
we got to get you back on once more stuff clears.
dude, I know. Abdullah, man, I really appreciate you taking the time, inviting me on, and putting this out there. It's cool that you do this, man, and I'm grateful for you and for having had this opportunity with you. So truly, thank you.
Yeah. No, thanks. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye.